Well, hey guys, how y'all doing? Freedom Russell, hope you guys are doing good. I appreciate you guys stopping by tonight. First of all, cheers. I am actually drinking tonight. It is the Salty Golfer. This is out of the Grand Strand Brewing Company in right here in Myrtle Beach. And don't know if you guys have been there or not, but it is a local brewery down on it's between 8th and 9th Avenue there on Kings Highway. And they have a whole array of microbrews. And this is actually a pineapple blonde. And this is a great summer ale that I love to drink. It's nice and light, and the pineapple is really good. So, guys, cheers. Appreciate you. Mm, okay. Hunter, glad to see you. How you doing? So, with us kind of moving into summertime, this is kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight. But before we jump into that, I want to take a just a quick second and thank Jay and Kelly from Jelly Baits. They are going to be transitioning to another part of their life. They are actually going to, they are not going to be doing jelly baits for a little while. They're going to back away from that business, and they are going to be traveling around the country in a camper and doing some other things. So, guys, it has been absolutely fantastic working with them. Jay and Kelly has been just fantastic. I have actually got a couple of new friends. The friendships that I've built with Jay and Kelly, they are not going to stop just because he's not doing jelly baits. It's jelly baits was just something that brought us together, and now we've actually built something that is going to last a lifetime. So, Jay, Kelly, I really appreciate you guys and wish you all the luck and safe travels on the road. And I know you guys are just going to really enjoy it. So, guys. I will still be fishing with some jelly baits as long as they last, but Jay, I think, still has some in inventory. So if you guys want to pick some up, you can go over there and pick those up before he actually runs out. Jeff, how are you tonight? Jeff actually already threw out a question. What fish are hot right now? Jeff, the flounder right now are actually just on fire. I was not out last weekend. I was actually up into the mountains, but the flounder bite has just been incredible. Um, I have, I want to say the last couple of times that I have been out, I have probably caught seven, eight flounder on each trip. Matter of fact, the video that is going to be coming out tomorrow morning, that was my slam. So I think I only got like four fish, but I got two flounder, a trout, and a red. And the flounder have just been really hitting right now. So, Steve, good to see you, man. Nice for you to jump on. Glad to see you here. So, Steve is actually a guy who gave me some of my first baits. We met out on the water, and he had this little Steve, what was it? A little paddle tail? No, it wasn't a paddle tail. It was like a curly tail, and it was like in a little shrimp color. And you never had a name for it, and I called it the Shrimpy Steve just because I didn't have a name for it when I was fishing with it. And I remember taking that down to Charleston a week or two after I got that from you, and just killing it on some trout. So, Steve, good to see you in here. He's also said he's been killing the flounder. So, yeah, Jeff, right now the flounder have just really been biting. It's really been great. Uh, John, good to see you. Hey, brother, I will be miss fishing there this year. Oh, good. Okay. So, yeah, the flounder have been great. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about was basically the summer pattern transition. Summer is upon us now. We're almost into July. And this week it has been absolutely brutal hot. I work outside, I'm in landscaping. And this week the heat index has been triple digits. It's been 103 degrees. It has been hot. So what is this pattern going to do to the fish and the fisheries that we fish here in South Carolina? So one of the things that happens is obviously the water temperatures start to climb. And when those water temperatures start to climb, what happens is the dissolved oxygen that's in the water starts to become a lot lower. So these fish need to move where there is more oxygen in the water. And where they're going to be moving to are places with current and deeper holes in channels for a little bit more oxygen and maybe even some cooler water. So when I am out looking right now and I'm out scouting and fishing, I am going to be looking for these current areas. So if I'm looking at a creek mouth coming out and you can see those current lines, that's where I am going to be fishing. These fish are going to be staged up in those areas. So it's all going to be about oxygen and cooler water. So, excuse me. So when I'm starting out first thing in the morning, I like to go out, excuse me. I like to go out first thing in the morning, right when the sun is coming up, or maybe right before the sun's coming up. And when I do that, I am going to be pushing back into the shallow areas first, into these creeks way back, because during the nighttime, these water temperatures back in that skinny water are going to cool off quicker than the deeper water. So I'm going to start my day back into the creeks. And as the water starts to drop out, that's when I'm going to go to these deeper areas. So as the temperature warms up during the day, I'm going to go to deeper water. Now, more than when I am out fishing, I usually don't fish into the afternoon. It's too hot, the bite slows down, and I usually don't, fish in the afternoon. I'll fish late in the afternoon. If I want to go out 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, I'll fish that part. But middle of the afternoon, I believe it's just too hot. You can catch fish, and that's where you want to target the deeper areas and the current rips where there's going to be more oxygen. These fish are going to be a little bit more docile during the heat of the day. So I think if you guys target your fish early in the morning and then transition to current and deeper holes, I think you guys ought to find some success. But I know these water temperatures are really starting to really climb up, probably into the 80s. If anybody fished last weekend, let me know if you guys know what the water temperature was. But I know when I was out 2 weeks ago, I was already pushing 81, 82, and that was before the 90-degree weather started to move in. So yeah, that's going to probably be your best bet. Like I said, I never fished last week. I was actually up in the mountains of North Carolina, got away a little bit, and my my eye for fishing still got me. We were up in the mountains, and I will show you what I was looking at. Let me pull these up here real quick, and I will show you what I was looking at. So here's a mountain stream that I was looking at, and hopefully you guys can see this brown trout right here. He was a nice fish. And then we moved down a little bit further, and there was one here and two here. There was 3 fish within about 2 feet of each other. So even though I'm on vacation up in the mountains relaxing, I was still like, oh man, I wish I had a fly rod up here. This is killing me. But I plan on getting up there at some point and hitting this little mountain stream and seeing if I can't pick up some of these fish, because these were just fantastic brown trout. But I know we're not here to talk about brown trout, but I at least needed to show those to you because, I mean, the water was absolutely crystal clear. It was, um, gosh, probably 75 degrees in the middle of the day. It was absolutely beautiful. Um, so, guys, if you got any questions, go ahead and throw them up there into the chat, and we'll get to them. It looks like you got two reds. Okay, and some crabs. Fantastic. Let me know where. It looks like you were in Florida. That's fantastic. Yeah, what? I can't see. Was that? Hang on, I can't. Steve, I can't see where you. Was that a DH stream? I don't know what DH is. Let me know what DH is. So as we're waiting on that, it was actually right outside of Newland, um, Boone area. Linville Falls is where we hike. So if you guys kind of know that area, that's kind of where I was at. There's a ton of streams and waterfalls up there. That's kind of delayed harvest. I don't know. Um, I don't think I ever. I've never heard of a delayed harvest stream. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I mean, it could be. So yeah, I didn't see any signage anywhere, designating something like that. It was just a mountain stream. So yeah, I don't know. So brown trout are great grilled up. Yeah, you bet. I haven't had trout in a while, but man, I love trout. I actually started. I lived out in Colorado for about 5 years in the mid to late 90s. And I actually built a golf course out there right at the base of Pikes Peak. And right on the other side of Pikes Peak, there was a gold medal trout stream outside of Decker, Colorado. And that's where I started fly fishing. So, it kind of holds a special place in my heart. Fly fishing, mountain streams and getting up there with some light tackle and some dry flies. And yeah, it's fantastic. Um, I know what river you were on, guided up there for 20 years. Ah, okay. In North Carolina or Colorado? Probably North Carolina. So, yeah, that's awesome. Excuse me. Yeah, so what I'm basically going to be throwing here during the summertime, especially these next few weeks, is I'm starting to see a lot of blue crabs out there. So I'm going to be throwing the Z-Man kicker crab, paddle tails, and the shrimp patterns. I don't think we are in a shrimp hatch right now. I think the shrimp are kind of growing. I think we have another hatch. I'm trying to think because I want to believe shrimp will hatch every couple of months. So yeah, that. Oh yes, he guided. Steve guided up in North Carolina. So yeah, you probably do know the river that I was on. So yeah, I mean, it looks like it was probably. I don't know if it's always been that way, but yeah, it again, it was just fantastic. There was some deeper pools, some bigger rocks, but again, when you can just walk along the side and just see these that I'm not even sure how big that fish was. He was probably all, 15, 18-inch brown trout. He was, fantastic. So, but yeah, so, right now they asked what fish are have been biting. The flounder right now have just been on fire. I did catch a trout. I am not a very good trout fisherman. Steve, you can probably attest to that. I just haven't figured them out. I know that they, feed in the water column, midway up into the water columns because their eyes are kind of on the top of their head. So they're going to be ambushing stuff from the bottom, coming up and getting their forage and their food. So, I need to become a better trout fisherman. Um, Speckled trout is just not my thing. I love catching reds. Reds, I'm going to be definitely throwing some top water now. So I'm going to be throwing some wake baits and some spook juniors, to walk the dog pattern. And those are going to be my go-tos for my top water. I really want to get one on another wake bait. I need to throw that a little bit more. I've only caught maybe a handful of reds on a wake bait. If you don't know what a wake bait is, it basically looks like a bass crankbait, but it may run an inch underwater. Basically runs right on the top of the water, maybe about an inch below, but it makes a nice little V, a nice wake as you're pulling it through, and it's got a rattle, and they work really, really well. Like I said, I've picked up a handful of redfish on the wake bait. I love throwing them, so I am going to be throwing that a little bit more. Russell asks, what is your go-to shrimp color? So there's a couple of them really. When I'm throwing a voodoo, I love the Cajun pepper chartreuse tail. And then if I'm throwing, I like the little Jelly Baits 3-inch Magnifica shrimp. And he has one that is in, let me grab it here. I'm going to jump off camera real fast. But he's got it, this is called Hypnotic Honey, but it's a very natural looking shrimp. So any type of natural colors that you can get here, I don't know, you may show up just a little bit better, but it's a very natural looking shrimp color. So anytime you can throw the natural colors, I love it. So those are kind of my go-tos. And then if it's a dark, muddier creek that I am in, I'm going to go to a darker color. They have a black shrimp pattern that I would throw, but that's got to be some pretty stained water for me to throw that. As you go to shrimp, I'm trying to catch up on. Steve was saying that you're using a 6 weight with a popper. Oh, okay, yeah, a 6 weight fly rod with a popper on it. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I used a 5 weight up in the mountains, and they were doing a lot of. I was catching a lot of rainbow trout up into the mountains of Colorado. Steve said that I have a killer new shrimp pour, and so that's been killing the flatties. Nice, nice. Send me something on Instagram or Facebook. Show me a picture of it. I'd love to see it. You ever go near the inlet of Merle's Inlet? I've only been out towards the jetties a couple of times. Usually during the summer, I don't go out there, and there's only one reason why I don't go out there, and that is the boat traffic. There is one way in and one way out of the inlet, and it's right there at the jetties. It gets a little bit dangerous when you're in a kayak and you're out there next to those rocks. I'm just gonna say it. Boaters, some are very they don't slow down. You get some pretty big wakes out there, and others they'll slow down and they will troll right by you, and that's great. But it gets a little rough out there. I usually stay away from the jetties. Now during the wintertime, the boat traffic is a lot less. So I will go out towards the jetties a little bit more, but still, even the charters, they'll run out. And again, that's the only reason why I don't fish the jetties is because of the boat traffic. The jetties right now have been producing flounder, sheep's head, reds. They have all been producing right now. I follow a lot of charter captains, and it's producing. I mean, anytime you can get around the rocks in the structure and where bait fish are going to be holding, you're going to catch fish. So that is, yes. The jetties out in Merle's Inlet, yes, you're going to catch fish out there. Absolutely. And on both sides. So on the inside of the jetties and the outside of the jetties, both produce. So yeah, it does get crazy. Absolutely. Scared the heck out of me last year. Yep. Yeah. I've been, I don't want to say I've been swamped, but I had to use all my skill to keep my kayak upright a couple of different times out there. And I really, it's not worth it. There's plenty of water inside Merle's Inlet, plenty of fish inside there. So yeah, I just kind of steer clear of that. So yeah, so guys, if there's any more questions, throw them up there in the chat box. And so yeah, so I kind of want to go back again and just kind of touch on just a couple of the summer pattern stuff, and that is again, as the water temperatures warm up, there's going to be less dissolved oxygen in the water. So make sure that you are looking for current and depth. So you can find some areas that are closer to some deeper channels, especially these creek mouths. The creek mouths will get real deep as they come out, because as the water is coming out, they're going to erode that away. And that is going to be a great place to target all those creek mouths. And then as you're running some of these creeks and deeper channels, you'll find the trough in the deeper channels in these smaller offshoots of creeks. And that's where you want to start targeting these fish. So yeah, so that's the summer patterns as we kind of get into it. Start back into the creeks in the mornings and kind of work your way out. And probably by 10, 11 o'clock, the bite's probably going to fall off pretty hard. It's probably going to get tough for you to get any fish, especially inshore. Now, if you work out towards the jetties, or even like a near shore, like off the beach, the fishing is probably going to be a little bit better. The ocean water is going to be a little bit more consistent. It's a deep water. It takes a longer time for it to heat up. When you get way back into those creeks are shallow, couple of feet deep, and when it's 90 degrees, that water can heat up very, very quickly, and these fish are going to move. Even if they find a hole that's a couple of degrees cooler, that's where they're going to move to. It's just like us. If you're out in the sun and you're mowing the grass and you're working hard and you step a couple feet into the shade and you feel that temperature difference, the fish are exactly the same. They're going to try to find an area that is just a little bit cooler for them. So you have to keep in mind these fish are cold-blooded. So anytime they can move to a cooler area, they're going to. So again, that's middle of the day, late morning, the bite's going to drop off. Just be aware of that. So I will be out fishing Saturday morning. I am actually going to be meeting up with the 2 subscribers that won the contest a couple of months ago. And we're going to be hitting some creeks there in Merle's and see if we can't get on a little bit of a bite. So yeah, it's open to anybody. If anybody wants to come out, I'm going to be out there at 6:15 getting unloaded, and if you want to tag along, come on out. I'm going to be there. So again, I'm only going to fish till probably 10 or 11 o'clock. I want to say low tide is around 9:30. So, I want to fish kind of that last few hours of the outgoing and maybe an hour or two of the incoming and see what we can get on. Hopefully, I hope the flounder bite is still going on. I am going to be throwing a shrimp pattern, a paddle tail, and also that kicking crab. And I may start with that weight bait. So those, again, the ones that I talked about a little bit earlier in the live chat here, those baits, that's what I'm going to have tied on right there in the morning. So yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a great morning. I know they're expecting a little bit of rain, maybe around 6 o'clock, but I'll take a rain jacket. It's not going to be the first time I got wet on the water. As long as there's no lightning, we're going to be just fine. So, guys, I appreciate you. If oh wait a minute, Dylan Price, how you doing? He just shot up a question. Favorite knot for leader to hook and why? Okay, so the knot that I use to tie on my like my jig heads is just the old fisherman's knot, the clinch knot. That's the one I use. I do tie a loop knot, especially like on my walking bait, but I'm not very good at it. I can't get that loop very consistent. I'll get a nice little small one, then I'll get a great big one, and another small one and a big one. I'm just not very good at it. I use a clinch knot on my walking baits, works just fine. The loop knot may give it a little bit more action just because it's not restricted, but those are the two. The clinch knot, I use it. I don't think I have been broke off with the clinch knot. It's a fantastic knot. The loop knot, same thing. I don't have a lot of knot failures. I don't know why. I just tie a little clinch knot. Now my braid to leader, I use what they call is a modified Albright knot. It's a really small knot. It's easy to tie. I've also seen it called an SC knot. I really don't know if there's really a name for it. What I'll need to do one time is bring some braid and leader in here and actually tie it for you guys. But I've been tying it for a couple of years. I have never had a failure between my braid and my leader. So I'm trying to think. No, I don't think I have. I don't think I've ever had that not fail me. If I have, I mean, it can't be more than once or twice. So practice on a rope and work it down the side. Yeah, I know. I need to. I need to. So I need to practice that loop knot. But yeah, those are my two leader to hook knots. So hopefully I answered your question, Dylan. So again, cheers, guys. Hey, if you guys are in Myrtle Beach, check out Grand Strand Brewing Company. They're fantastic. Ah, boy. I found an Albright works best passing through the eyes. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, the Albright knot. I know it's pretty small. Steve said the Pitson knot. Check it out. Okay. If you can see, I am going to write that down. I will definitely check that out. So, yeah. Guys, that's gonna wrap it up. If you guys have any more questions, throw them up there really quick and I'll get to them. But I am gonna go ahead and let's schedule the next one for July 11th. That'll be the next live chat. We'll do it after July 4th. So happy Independence Day to all you guys. It's been a little bit different for our family, especially Memorial Day, Veterans Day, 4th of July. My youngest son, he is in the Army. He's in the 82nd Airborne. He's in an artillery unit, and he's actually home for a couple of weeks on summer break. And so, those days, they just hold, a little bit special something in our hearts now. It's always just a little bit different when you have somebody who serves. So we are damn proud of him. And so, guys, I hope you all enjoy your fourth. and get out on the water, catch them up. Let me know how you do. Send me a message on Instagram or Facebook and send me those pictures so I can see how you guys do. So, guys, I really do appreciate you. And I will see you in a couple of weeks or out on the water. So, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you much.